Hello, this is Slate with Combo of Rocks, bringing you another video deck tech of a deck that we built by request and sold. If you're not familiar with us, we make and sell custom budget EDH decks. These decks are light on the budget, so they may not be optimal or competitive, but they're definitely fun and centered around a central theme that you can build on. So today we have Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. Definitely a joy to play, but Jaws of the Conclave. 2 red, green, white for a 5/5 legendary creature wolf. Vigilance, trample, and ward 3. Whenever it attacks, put X1/1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. Then draw a card for each wolf you control. So this does incorporate both elves and wolves, and also maybe some changelings. Let's get into the deck. This is one we've done before, but I wanted to revisit. So we have Arlen Cord, 2 green, red for a 3 loyalty Arlen. +1, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 vigilance and haste. 0 creates a 2/2 wolf, then transforms her into Arlen Embraced by the Moon. +1, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. -1 deals 3 damage to any target, then transform her back. -6, you get an emblem with creatures you control have haste, and tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. We have Bloodbraid Challenger, 3 green red for a 4/3 elf berserker with Cascade. So you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with mana value less, then you get to cast that card for free. It's got haste, and you can also escape it from your graveyard for 3 green red and exiling 3 cards from your graveyard. Tolsimir Midnight's Light, 2 green white for a 3/2 elf scout with lifelink. When it enters, create Voja Fenstalker, a legendary 5/5 green and white wolf creature token with trample. Whenever a wolf you control attacks, if Tolsimir attacked this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf this combat if able. We have Tolsimir Wolfblood, 4 green white for a 3/4 legendary elf warrior. Other green creatures get +1/+1. Other white creatures get +1/+1. If they're both, they get +2/+2, which the token is. Tap to create Voja, a legendary 2/2 green and white wolf creature token. We have Tolsimir, Friend Wolves, 2 green white for a 3/3 legendary elf scout. When it enters, create Voja, Friend Elves, a legendary 3/3 green and white wolf creature token. Whenever a wolf enters under your control, gain 3 life, and that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. We have Assure and Assemble. Green white hybrid gives you an instant that puts a 1/1 counter on a creature, gains indestructible. Assemble, 4 green white, creates 3 2/2 green white and green elf creature tokens with vigilance. We have Mirror Entity, 2 and a white for a 1/1 shapeshifter changeling. You can pay X to give creatures you control base power and toughness X and gain all creature types, so it makes them both wolves and elves, which is very important for Voja's ability. Mass Hysteria, 1 red, enchantment, all creatures have haste. This is going to be much better for you than your opponents most of the time. Anzreg's Rampage, 3 red, destroy all artifacts you don't control, then exile the top X card of your library, where X is the number of artifacts that are put into graveyards from the battlefield this turn. You can put a creature card exiled this way onto the battlefield against haste, and then return it to your hand on your next end step. Tovolar's Huntmaster, 4 green for a 6/6 human werewolf. When it enters, create 2 green wolf creature tokens. When it flips into its knight, whenever he enters or attacks, create another 2 green wolf tokens. 2 green, another wolf or werewolf fights a creature you don't control. It's also a 7/7. We have Feed the Pack, 5 and a green enchantment. On your end step, you can sack a non-token creature. If you do, create X 2/2 green and wolf creature tokens, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. Wolfbriar Elemental, 2 green with multi-kicker green for 4/4 elemental. When it enters, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield for each time it was kicked. Night Pack Ambusher, 2 green for 4/4 wolf with flash. Other wolves and werewolves get +1/+1. On your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Runs Red Packmaster, 3 and green for a 5/5 elf warrior with champion and elf, so you have to sack an elf or exile an elf unless and then you sack it if you don't. 2 and a green, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. The wolves you control have death touch. Various Silvery Moon Ranger, 1 green for a 3/3 elf human ranger, legendary, reach with ward 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, venture into the dungeon. It only triggers once each turn. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Silver for Partisan, 2 and a green for a 2/2 wolf warrior with trample. Whenever a wolf or werewolf becomes the target of an instant or sorcery, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. Ranger's Class, 1 and a green. First class here creates a 2/2 green wolf. Pay 1 and a green to level it to 2. Whenever you attack, put a 1/1 on counter on attacking creature. 3 and a green, level 3. Look at the top card of your library anytime. You can cast creature spells from the top of your library. Mantle of the Wolf, 3 and a green for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4. When it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, it creates 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. Windswift Slice, 2 and a green instant. Target creature deals damage equal to its power to a target creature you don't control. Create a number of 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens equal to the excess damage dealt this way. Sylvan Offering, X and a green. You and an opponent each create an XX green tree folk. Then it creates X 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Again, our elf warrior creature tokens are most of the time going to be better than your opponent's. Maskwood Nexus, 4 mana. Every creature basically has changeling. They all become all creature types. 3 tap, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Into some mana rocks, we have a Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Gruul Signet, Selesnya Signet, Boros Signet, Talisman of Impulse, Talisman of Conviction, Talisman of Unity, Navigation Orb searches for 2 basics and or gates. There are some gates in this deck, so this can ramp but also color fix. Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana, 1 to equip. Equip creature is hexproof and haste. Smoke Bomb, 3 mana flash. All creatures have Shroud. On your upkeep, you have to sack it, but a creature you control can't be blocked. Good for your Voja to not be able to be blocked. 3 Tree Mascot, 2 mana, 2/1 Shapeshifter with Changeling. Pay 1 to add a mana of any color, only once each turn. Just a bit of color fixing on an Elf Wolf. Samet, Tyrant Smasher, 2 green-red hybrid for a 5 loyalty Samet. Creatures you control have haste. -1, target creature gets +2/+1, gains haste, and scry 1. Bloodbraid Elf, 2 green-red for a 3/2 Elf Berserker with haste and Cascade. Irregular Cohort, 2 white for a 2/2 Shapeshifter Changeling. When it enters, you get another 2/2 Shapeshifter Changeling. Again, just gives us 2 wolves and elves. Stroke of Midnight, 2 white instant, destroys a non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 human creature token. Make Your Move, 2 white instant, destroying artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. Rootborn Defenses, 2 white, populates, then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Pyreheart Wolf, 2 red for a 1/1 wolf. When it attacks, each creature can't be blocked except for 2 or more creatures, so they gain menace. It does have an undying, so when it dies, it enters with a 1/1 counter, and then if it dies again, it won't enter again because it has a 1/1 counter. Changeling Berserker, 3 red for a 5/3 Shapeshifter Changeling with haste. You do have to champion a creature, so when it comes into play, sack it unless you remove a creature from the game, which shouldn't be that big of a problem. Outnumber, 1 red instant, deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to a creature. Primeval Herald, 3 green for a 3/1 Elf Scout with Trample. When it enters or attacks, search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Paradise Druid, 1 green for a 2/1. As long as it's untapped, it has hexproof, and it taps for a mana of any color. Llanowar Elves, 1 green for a 1/1, taps for a green. Sylvan Ranger, 1 green for 1/1. When it enters, search for a basic land, put it into your hand. Elvish Rejuvenator, 2 green for a 1/1. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put a land from among them onto the battlefield, tap, the rest on the bottom in a random order. Reclamation Sage, 2 green for a 2/1 Elf Shaman. When it enters, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Sharpshooter Elf, 2 green for a *2 Elf Ranger with Reach. When power is equal to the number of creatures you control. When it enters, it deals damage to its power to a creature with flying an opponent controls. Wood Elves, 2 green for a 1/1, searches for a forest, then puts it onto the battlefield. Raised by Wolves, 3 green. When it enters, creates 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each wolf you control. Elvish Regrower, 2 green for a 4/3 Elf Druid. When it enters, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Utopia Sprawl, 1 green, enchants a forest. Choose a color. The forest then taps for additional mana of the chosen color. Bushwhack, 1 green, choose 1, search for a basic land, put it in your hand, or a target creature fights a creature you don't control. Explorer, 1 green, play an additional land, draw a card. Fertile Ground, 1 green, enchant a land, taps for additional mana of any color. Rampant Growth, 1 green, searches for a basic land, puts it onto the battlefield tapped. Ranger's Path, 3 green, searches for 2 forests, puts them onto the battlefield tapped. Migration Path, 3 green, searches for 2 basics, puts them onto the battlefield tapped. You can also cycle it for 2 colorless. Basswood Surge, same ability, but you can kick it for 4 colorless to put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Expand the Sphere, 3 green, look at the top 6 cards of your library, puts 2 lands from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you put less than 2 lands, proliferate equal to the number of times to the difference. Return to Nature, 1 green, choose 1, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard. Stomp, 1 green-red hybrid. A creature you control deals damage to its power to a creature or planeswalker you don't control. Can also be a tapped red-green land. Strength of the Harvest, 2 green-white hybrid. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature or enchantment you control. Can also be a tapped green-white land. And then Legion Leadership, 1 red-white hybrid. A double target creature's power gains first strike. Can also be a tapped red-white land. Into some lands, we have Cinder Glade, Mossfire Valley, Game Trail, Canopy Vista, Sungrass Prairie, Fortified Village, Frozen Verge. This one can be sacked to search for a forest and a plains. Note that some of our lands have both types. Sunscorched Divide, Clifftop Retreat, Fury Calm Snarl, Slayer's Stronghold. Pay red, white, and tap it to give a creature +2/+0 vigilance and haste until end of turn. Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. Pay 2 red, white, and tap it to give a creature double strike until end of turn. Command Tower. And then we have some of those gates that were searchable. Taps for a white and a mana of any color. Taps for red or a mana of any color. And green and a mana of any color. And then plains, forests, and mountains. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it, but we'll see you next time.